Thank you all so much. Well, today's lesson is an assignment.
Uh-oh.
This is actually the first of a series of assignments for my field ministry program toward ordination as a unity minister. The assignment is to articulate my personal belief system, otherwise known as a credo. The word credo is Latin for I believe, and in many faith traditions, the church or some other authority gives you your credo. Someone else tells you what you should believe. And I've said before that one of the things I like best about unity is that no one tells us what to believe. Unity gives us the freedom to explore and choose our belief system. Unity has a teaching, not a dogma. We can design our own ideology to be a continuing reflection process on what we truly believe in a functional, practical, and helpful way. Unity provides a metaphysical education, teachings that flow from our master teacher Jesus, from our founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, from other New Thought teachers, and the collective wisdom of the unity movement. But the most important teaching and teacher comes from within you. Unity offers instruction in metaphysics, in Bible, in history, counseling, and communication. Unity designs these teachings to open our awareness to new possibilities. It encourages us to question our belief system, our embedded theology, our unwritten credo. We all have an unwritten credo. A constellation of beliefs about who and what we are, who and what God is, and our relationship with the sacred, our relationship with the divine. The sources of this unwritten credo, they vary and differ for each one of us. It has a lot to do with our traditions, our culture, our family of origin, and our life experiences. We all have cultural traditions. Last Wednesday, the United States collectively celebrated Independence Day. I hope you all survived the fireworks.
All 10 fingers.
Independence Day remembers our nation's freedom from England's colonial rule and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We traditionally celebrate Independence Day with fireworks. Some communities hold parades or historic reenactments. I traveled to Seward, Nebraska, which is considered to be Nebraska's 4th of July city. I had a good time. I listened to some good music and I watched the fireworks. Our traditions are very much a part of our culture, handed down to us right to the family level. Maybe your family ate certain foods at certain times of the year. It was a tradition. Maybe there are prayers that your family said as you grew up at the beginning of a meal or before going to bed, or songs your family sang at Christmas or other times of the year. Maybe your family had no religious or spiritual traditions, but just like the Hank Williams Jr. song, you had other family traditions. Maybe your family had traditions that you continue to honor and observe to this day. Family traditions can be more general, like education. How much formal education you receive depends significantly on how much your family values education. If your parents and grandparents were well educated, well, then there is a greater chance that they will instill that tradition within you. The same is true of a trade or a profession. Some families have a traditional family business. I'm currently binge watching the show Blue Bloods, which follows a family of law enforcement officers in New York City. Generations of this family have served as cops and other legal professionals. They sit down together for Sunday dinner, another family tradition. And they talk about the family business. Some families have traditions about military service, or the practice of medicine, or teaching, or music, or something else that the family values. These family and cultural traditions inform our personal belief system, our embedded theology of who we think we are and our relationship with God and all humankind. Our family and cultural traditions inform what we decide is sacred. Sacred describes something that we dedicate or set apart for service or worship. Something sacred is considered worthy of spiritual respect or devotion, something that inspires awe or reverence. The terms sacred and holy have similar meanings, and sometimes we use these words interchangeably, but they do have a subtle difference. Holiness refers to people and relationships, whereas sacredness describes objects, places, or happenings, things and events. These things and events are set apart for special reverence. A person may be considered holy, and some might even call them a saint. But then if that same person dies, and their remains or their burial place becomes an object of worship, then that may be considered sacred, a sacred relic. Many people consider the Bible to be sacred. Other cultures and other traditions have different sacred writings, like the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita. Usually it is our culture and traditions that tell us if something is sacred. But ultimately, we choose. We have the choice to perceive the Bible or other writings as sacred or not. I hold the Bible in special reverence, and I consider it to be inspired. But is it sacred to me? I love Unity's approach to metaphysically interpreting the Bible to discover personal meanings and truths. And I also love learning about the Bible's history so that we can place it into historical context. That helps me understand what the writers may have intended. But is the Bible sacred? Now, if you've been around me for a while, you've heard me talk about my mentor, Reverend Randolph Wilkinson. Randolph taught from the Bible every single Sunday morning. He was a master of metaphysical Bible interpretation. One Sunday morning, Randolph was trying to make a point. He put his Bible down on the floor and began jumping up and down on it. Now this action shocked his congregation so much that some people threatened to leave the church. Now, I must admit that Randolph's actions were so provocative that even I might have missed the point. But this is what I think he was trying to say. Randolph's congregation considered printed words on a page to be sacred. But Randolph considered the concepts of love and truth that we find in the Bible to be sacred. As I mentioned, this lesson aims to investigate, develop, and articulate my personal belief system, or at least a portion of my personal belief system, my credo. This I believe. And there will be other portions that I will share with you in the future. It is my sincere objective in this investigation is to measure and reveal my belief system's functionality. How well does my belief system work in my life, my world, and my experience? Does what I believe help me with my human problems? Does my belief system benefit my health, my relationships, or my experience with abundance and prosperity? Does my life work better because I choose to perceive reality in this way? Now, we can all benefit from this kind of self-examination. Ask yourself, does your default belief system, your embedded theology without examination, does it work for you? Or is there some divine discontent within? Perhaps some point of pain that prods you to examine your belief system. Socrates said that the unexamined life is not worth living. And if we are honest with ourselves, we will find that we have within us old thought patterns, old beliefs that no longer work for us. We will discover these old beliefs, these embedded theologies. We will discover outdated ideas, traditions, and attitudes, ancient angers and resentments that we could let go of. Ask yourself if you would be happier, healthier, or more prosperous if you released some part of your cultural or family traditions that no longer make sense. Is your belief system, your embedded theology working for you? Or would your life be better if you let some parts go? You know, we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can keep the best and lose the rest. We can. We have that power. We can change our minds and change our lives. We can let go of what no longer serves us. Indeed, most spiritual growth comes from breaking down these unhelpful thought patterns and unlearning what we think we know. Because it isn't what we know that gets us into trouble. It's what we know that just ain't so. As spiritual seekers on the path, we can discover these old thought patterns, these embedded theologies, these outdated ideas, traditions, and attitudes. We can choose for ourselves what is or what is not sacred. We can make a conscious decision to release what doesn't work. allowing the renewal of ideas. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your minds. We can think healthier thoughts, make new plans, and see a brilliant new vision for our lives. We can discover and nurture the sacred within ourselves and in all creation. We can let go of what we think we know and open ourselves to a new culture and new traditions. This, I believe. God bless you all. Well, this is our opportunity, yours and mine, to pour out the gift of God from within us through our tithes and our love offerings. And can we share this offertory blessing together? Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. Thank you, God. And you can send your gifts, your tithes, your love offerings to paypal.me/UnityLincoln. That's paypal.me/UnityLincoln. Or you can send your gifts through the mail or through a bank transfer by sending it to Unity Lincoln, P.O. Box 30209, Lincoln, Nebraska 68503. Or you can go to our webpage at unitylincoln.org, and there you will find a convenient link to donate via PayPal. You can also help support Unity Lincoln by liking us on Facebook and subscribing on YouTube. And give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Give and God gives it back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over, back in good measure. Together, running over, back in good measure. God gives it back to you. Scooby-Dooby-Dooby-Doo. All right, and let us share this affirmation for our church family. Together, Unity Lincoln is blessed to draw the people, funds, and all that is required for the health and growth of our community and peace in the world, heart to heart.